we help Russian business to find partners in Africa, primarily in South Africa. We would like to increase trade turnover between our countries because this is the first simple step to make some trading in a bigger volume. Main objectives is to be the unified operator for Russian business and for South African business to work with Russia. The key directions of development is energy, absolutely. Nuclear energy, agriculture products, if we are talking about trading, oil products, other equipment and materials from medicine to another areas. Educational direction, because this is a very important thing. We have already launched the Learning Russian for South Africans program. And I think we should discuss it personally with everybody and we could identify this niche. But in the personal discussions, we could clarify exactly which steps we can do in each way of cooperation.
Practical things that we would like to see on the ground is investments coming in, number one. Russian businesses partnering with South African businesses so that there can be physical programs and business programs on the ground in our townships amongst our people. It should not be a pie in the sky. It should not be a story of investments are coming in and it's going to those companies that already exist, that has received investments over and over again and nothing has happened in our communities. We want to see tangible businesses going up. We want to see young people and women in our country partnering with Russian business people and opening shops in our township so that our people can get jobs and that they can take care of themselves.
The huge prospects and the huge potential for the development of bilateral trade relations between Russian Federation and South Africa is not yet covered with existing participants, with existing companies, existing exporters and importers. So the establishing of such an institution, which we are celebrating here today, Investruss, is quite a good sign, quite a good opportunity, providing business people from both countries to communicate, to develop the business relations, to conclude new contracts and to discuss and solve their joint problems, questions, concerns about the development of the trade relations between the two countries.
Definitely what we discussed with President Ramaphosa and President Putin during the Russia-Africa summit this year was for the two of them to see at least 3 major investment activities that begins to bolster the economy of South Africa. One is in gas, where there are people in South Africa with gas exploration licenses. They just need funding so that South Africa can emerge as a gas distributor, a gas exporter to any parts of the world in partnership with Russia. Secondly, the space industry has already indicated that there are these discussions between South African National Space Agency and Roscosmos towards the establishment of a station in Cape Town. And once that succeeds, it will be another major boost in the continent of Africa. And then the last, obviously, is to help us resolve the energy crisis. As you know that we've got load shedding, our power stations are old, so Russia is most welcome to participate in this economy.
In fact, what is more important here is the issue of the South relations concerning the paradigm shift in the world politics. Our intention here is to translate what we've discussed tonight into programs of action which will impact on the land, not just South Africa only, but also the Russian Federation, including the fact that we are looking at the African continent. So it's very critical for us to ensure that this impacts on the lives of the young people, the women and the children, but also to ensure that South Africa, more especially, with a lot of injustices which we see across pertaining to inequality and poverty, we need to accelerate the process of implementation in these relationships and build sufficient and adequate investment to ensure that our townships and villages are impacted on. We think we have a role to play here. We want to ensure that what we are bringing to the party brings total transformation of the lives of our people.
What I see the South Africa and Russia relationship is we have ability to increase the trade turnover, I think 3-5 times. Absolutely. We'll engage the Russian companies to participate in government tenders in South Africa. Russian business will have vehicle to invest and will invest in business, in real estate business in South Africa and others.
How do we strengthen trade and economic relations between South Africa and Russia? I would like to see that Investruss brings lots of investment into South Africa. Our main focus is to build our economy and to create jobs for our people in South Africa. The hope for Investruss is that they bring investments to us and not take from us.
One of the most interesting sphere of cooperation between our country could be in agro-industrial complex. That includes the mutual supplies of different commodities, foodstuffs like wines, like fruits, like chemicals, agricultural chemicals, fertilizers, and I think machinery, equipment, that could be a good segment of our cooperation.
There's a disruptor coming very soon. The registration of the South African State Bank has been approved by Cabinet. The law in Parliament has passed. That State Bank will then be an enabler for those without access to finance. But we must also make it easier for BRICS Bank to now begin to look at coming into that space, not only at government to government level, but also allowing business access of the bank so that it can then revolutionize that space of financing. And then lastly, the SWIFT by BRICS countries, so that those who are sanctioned by the US or any other can then begin to switch to the alternative, so that we are not prisoners of one SWIFT, but then there are many SWIFTs that people can use alternatively.